session to order. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Fitch.
Here.
Stanzel.
Here.
Hobbs.
Here.
And I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please vote aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Okay, we are in the work session right now. Discuss about facilities management. I know I've talked to Michelle, I know you guys are probably talking to Michelle, so, some of these are stuff that is old business, one of which is the first one, discuss the public health and veteran affairs department with the courthouse. I was gonna do this at our meeting, later tonight, but I did go to the Board of Health meeting on Wednesday, and we discussed this as well, or they discussed it as well, and, we'll go ahead and start talking about that. We have it on the agenda to approve the auctioneer, and then I know.
But that was very specific, it was only at their discretion when they were moved into
Correct,
another
correct.
building.
So I know that there's been some concerns raised about ADA compliance, so I have reached out to the state on that. Currently, my understanding is the building does not currently have an ADA compliant door, because I know you've talked about that in the past, having issues with people getting into the door. So,
Here, sit right up here.
can you, I'm sorry, can you hear me?
No,
I
you
couldn't hear
can't.
you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I saw you looking at him like, she's not.
Okay.
Here,
I'll
do you
tell-
wanna sit
Wanna sit
up
right
by
here?
us?
Yes.
I know he's,
That's when I was,
I
okay.
got a chair.
just now what now?
Yeah, let's get him a chair. Stephen, you want to talk to him?
Here, Thaddeus, sit right here so you can hear.
Sorry, I literally can't see it.
No, I will talk
You
louder.
sit right in mine, and then you can sit. You know, it's,
But I'm gonna be on camera, I don't wanna be on camera.
oh, that's all right. Better you than me.
Nice enough. Okay, so it came up at the Board of Health meeting, I know I talked to you about the ADA, so I reached out to the state. The state said that, you guys have to, while you have an ADA compliant door now in the courthouse, it's not enough to just have a door, you have to have bathrooms accessible, and the challenge we have is the elevator, that teeny tiny old elevator that we all hate, is not accessible. So, and we have a similar concern in the current building, whereas the door into your building is not accessible, but your bathrooms are right off the door, so it's easier for people once they actually get in. So we're kind of at a double-edged sword to where I think the time has come where we need to have ADA compliance, period. So there's a couple options the state gave us, Thaddeus, is we can either put you guys in a different building that's ADA compliant, or we can start up a transition plan to make the courthouse ADA compliant. Either fix the elevator, like I know Chip, you've been talking about that for a while, or we put a bathroom in the courthouse. So I think the easier one is to talk about seeing if there's a way we can shuffle some offices and move you into the annex, which has an ADA compliant bathroom and an elevator. And then move one of the other offices out into the courthouse. So that's an option. But they did say in their email to me that conducting an ADA self-evaluation and transition plan would help guide these decisions and show good faith compliance. So I think if we give the state an indication that we're moving forward for ADA compliance, they can see us as compliant. So I guess the discussion we need to have right now is how do we make it work for you in the interim and move you out. So I know that you requested a office with a window. So if we move someone out of the annex, it would have to be someone in the top floor. The easiest one I think would be the assessor's office. And we can talk about how to do that.
That's one right, the big ones, you have all the
Right by the
windows,
parking lot.
Right by the parking lot, first
Right
door on the
across
left.
from the elevator.
Yeah, so, and it'd be right off the ADA ramp there, and we're gonna be putting in new doors anyway in the annex, so I think that will address it. I still think we eventually need to address the elevator in our courthouse, but that could be a more longer term plan.
That's a big ordeal.
Yeah.
Very big ordeal.
Yeah, but we could always use the proceeds from the sale of the public health building to assist on that, because I think eventually we need to do that. Because,
But I think it's gonna barely touch it.
I agree with
My
you, Jess.
concern, I think what was proposed to you, Chip, wasn't it, that an elevator would, the shaft isn't big enough, in essence, and you'd have to add an elevator to the exterior of the
Right.
courthouse.
Yeah, which I hate.
I don't like that idea at all, and we're talking probably well over $1 million.
Oh, it's a couple million dollars.
oh.
And I'm
The
not
other
sure.
option is to convert an office on the main floor into a bathroom.
That, to me, is a lot more, reasonable financially. Now, I know, Thaddeus, you looked at the plumbing, and Chip's, I'm sure, familiar. I mean, it's not a straight shot to add plumbing, like in the CICS office where we were talking about potentially adding a sink at one point. It's like, well, could we add a toilet as well, potentially? But I don't know, I think you guys are more familiar with that, what's underneath and how do we get all those tied in.
Well, historic preservation was in today, and they said we have to be real careful when we start.
Absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
we're not gonna just do it ad hoc, we have to talk to engineers, we have to talk to head of historic preservation. I did reach out to the Capitol complex today as well, to talk to their folks, because the same architect that designed our courthouse did the Capitol building. So, so they can have some insight into who to use for both the bathrooms and the elevator, because they only do the same things the Capitol building.
HR could actually probably be,
We can turn that into a bathroom. As long as it's on the first floor. And then we could, for,
but you're a lot of money here.
no, well, we'd have to research it, and,
Any of these ideas have to be, we have to do a cost, analysis on it and then weigh all the different options, right? I think this is just brainstorming here.
it's brainstorming. The quickest way to do it is to shuffle offices. Because we have, this is a former bank, so it has required necessities. Sean is out of the office this week, but I don't think he'd be opposed to moving in the courthouse, especially we could either shuffle him into our office.
Sean,
Sorry.
oh, the assessor?
The assessor,
Well, the way it was originally was the assessor had the side that the treasurer took over. That worked very well, and that office was blank, thinking we could put someone in that one,
well,
the assessor's office.
if we put,
I
I'm
don't
just
care if we
brainstorming
use
here,
it.
if we can go anywhere, all three of us, but if we were to put the assessor in our office, they can always use the vault for all their storage of their stuff, too. I mean, that's the original purpose of the vault, was paperwork storage, so that's an option.
And I firmly believe that we don't need a break room in the supervisor's office. That space is greatly underutilized, in my opinion. We need to use it for something else.
They use, the auditors use that,
Well,
but not very
so,
often.
But you guys moved that
actually, we,
machine out, right?
We use it for
we have been, the elections equipment. And, I too agree, underutilized, don't need a break room.
Yeah.
I think it would make a very wise, we could evaluate moving all of the election equipment into that area, move whatever's in there out, because
And we
then
purpose
it's-
the vault doors, you mean, and lock it?
we're gonna have to
Okay.
secure one side at least.
Yeah.
You can.
So again, that would be the research item, but think about how handy that would be, for just accessibility to the elections, deputy. It's already wired. I would want to evaluate whether it was, HVAC controlled well enough, if there's anything in it, it would be temperature sensitive.
Right.
That thing got closed down. But, I think that was my brainstorming I wanted to bring to you guys is, it's just such an undesirable spot. And we're carrying equipment here, there, and everywhere. And the old IT office is to me prime real estate to be a storage room.
Well,
So
that
what
was
do you
a
think-
temporary fix immediately, so I think it's a good idea if we convert it back into an office.
And then, how are you thinking you would envision using the old IT space then?
that would be, one of the things was, to, make a conference room that was in the courthouse, convenience. You have an employee, you have your auditors that come into the county, a place to land, a place to meet with constituents that are more conducive than in your guys' office or what have you. So until we needed it for an office, I thought what a nice conference room that would make. Just a lot, I can think of being utilized quite a bit. The other thing about the bathroom idea, remember we can always go, if you think about it, you can go into that CICS office and make a sharp turn, cause that, I don't think that's a plaster wall. And that could be, you know, we'd have to work out the plumbing there, but you could have just an ADA bathroom right inside, where there's an office now on the other side of that wall.
Well,
So,
the issue with that is how would the public access it, they'd have to have it.
Right.
So I'm wondering if it might be better to use one of the smaller offices and make it into an ADA bathroom.
If you do HR that would work, but,
HR's is the smallest office.
and it would work, you have that little cubby in the back, but you're gonna have the public use it.
For
And it
cost
will.
effectiveness, everything exits the building under the IT office. So the further we get away from there, it's gonna be more penetrations where we're gonna have to get state historical involved for every penetration of foundation walls. So like the HR office, that would be the furthest away that would be.
that's what I was
We
thinking.
penetrate
that's the hardest.
several load-bearing historic walls in the basement to carry a drainage pipe clear to the southwest.
So which office would be the most conducive on the first floor?
IT or supervisors?
IT or supervisors.
IT or supervisors would be less.
Supervisors is the smallest of those. I think is IT, I would think IT is well or about the same size.
IT would be a direct shot that the drainage could go straight down, but.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with all the windows though, if you take the supervisor's office and you turn it into public bathrooms, what do you do with the windows?
You just cover them. I mean, the windows are the same thing with the windows upstairs.
Yeah, but you're upstairs, not on where I can look at you
I
on the
can look
porch.
at the second
The
level.
whole office doesn't have to be a bathroom either.
Right.
You can do it.
We could just do an ADA wall off.
For example, just do your office, it'd be basically you can wall off where your desk sits.
My
so the
corner
windows
is,
still
you could do my
stay
corner.
open. I mean, we don't wanna go back to what we eliminated in the old community service office of unbreaking windows. We don't wanna cover new windows up anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
that's.
No.
I mean,
So
my
if we do that, if we make it ADA accessible,
And use my corner where I sit, you
but the
could.
question is that whole room, and then make that the conference room, so it can be open all the time, but then the issue is,
People coming in and out as you're
people will
having
be
a
coming in and out
conference.
as you're having a conference, or if we turn it into partially an office, people are gonna be coming in and out, whoever the office is.
The IT office also still has a server in it.
Has a what?
It has the server in it, not just the cameras and the server for the
Right, we would
county
have
are
to move,
separate.
we would have
But
to
you
move
wanted
that.
to move them to the second floor.
I can't move the one, I can only move the cameras, I can't move the other server.
So the other option for that is, we can always create a small room, a server room just for those, for the cameras, for the.
But you're wanting to move, are you still
Just
wanting
the
to move the camera
cameras,
system
just the
server?
cameras, but they're
Yeah.
separate, they're on the same stand.
Rack, yeah.
But the camera system is completely separate than the servers, and those are wired into the building in a way that they would have to rewire stuff. I don't know the tech,
They would have
the tech
to-
behind it, but, cause I asked them, removing this whole big rack up there, and they said, no, it's just the like monitor and one thing that goes on the table. The rest of the rack stays in the IT room, cause it's all.
Cause it's fiber optic fit with a fiber
Yeah, and
optic
so I don't
fit,
know
so-
how that works, is what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
you wouldn't want that open to the public, cause that would be a security issue if you had our server in the room where it's just the public is going.
Sure.
So Michelle's idea, turn that into a conference room or an office, especially if you're gonna allow her to use the vault for voting equipment. I guess the best place if he's gonna put a bathroom on main floor would be like in you guys' office and just a wall off, a small bathroom. Make an ADA compliant door and then turn the rest of the office.
Gonna
into-
have to get rid of all our countertops, you couldn't get through there with the wheelchairs, you have to remove all that, you're gonna have to put different carpet or flooring. We probably should talk to Rick Seeley about, what we're doing in that
I
corner.
do have a question. could we penetrate a wall directly off the corridor? Make a new doorway into the
Probably
bathroom?
not,
No,
Okay,
Well,
probably not.
remember when we were looking at that office that we were talking about moving you to? That is in the CICS office, that back office,
back door.
in the, there's a wall right there, I don't know what it's made of.
no, those were put in. That, in the
The one
CICS
that's-
office, we added those
The
walls in
office
the
with the
back
glass
corner.
window, that one?
Yeah, that one on the north side of that wall goes to the hallway
Right.
of the main floor of the courthouse. I don't know if it could be penetrated, I don't know if there's piping, I don't know, we're just thinking out loud
Spitballing it.
here. Yeah,
So I think we need to continue talking about this, cause I think long-term, we're gonna need a bathroom on the main floor, long-term.
My recommendation though is get the state historical involved.
Yeah.
The more they're involved,
Yeah.
that doesn't exclude us from any future grants if we wanna do projects.
But the short term and the interim, I think, we need to have discussions about having new guys at the annex, so we can meet the needs, the AD requirement needs.
You guys, you mean like me and Susan, or just me?
You and Joan,
Okay.
So we could put him in CICS for now.
No,
or
Or
in,
Up here, in the
Assessor.
assessor.
we can move the assessor, I think the assessor would be perfect in our office, Diane.
They always were, I think it's a great place, they did
And
fine.
then we just be ad hoc in the CICS office, and if there's construction, the three of us can just work around it.
will Susan be in the CICS office as well then?
Probably so, probably probably in a separate office, because we also have to have space for the HHS, social services. Now, I know they only come,
But they have to have a
So
locked,
we-
secure office that we cannot share, is that correct?
That
was my understanding.
I'm double checking with them on that, so I've reached out to them too, to find out what their requirements are, because the other thing we also have to allow for is they have to be on the ICN network. So we have to have their ICN node moved from public health to our building. Now, that will probably take 60 to 90 days, and they're willing to be flexible. But they're gonna double check with the ICN to see how quickly they can do it.
Have you discussed this with Sean?
No, I said he is out this week, so I haven't asked him. It's just
Did you
something-
ask Bridget?
No, I didn't ask Bridget. Figured I'd ask you to discuss it first to see.
we need to get some consensus of what paths we wanna pursue, and then we can start talking to people and get more data.
Because
It's nice
ultimate-
when they know.
Cause
in a place.
I don't wanna blindside them, this is not gonna be a quick thing.
I don't
So,
wanna blindside.
but, we have to make sure that we're using efficient use of space, cause we have a lot of open space in the courthouse. And that public health building is 3,600 square feet on the first level, 3,600 square feet in the basement, full basement, and it's on 1.5 acres. So that's a huge amount of space not to be utilized, and I'd like to condense that. And for you guys to know, I don't know if you guys have looked at the assessed value, the assessed value is $375,000. Now, it's just the assessed value, so it might sell for more than that, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think we're gonna try to sell it at storefronts, so we can make more money.
Well, we'll see about that, but.
So that's what, I didn't hear you.
They promote things as small businesses that need need offices.
Oh, so multi.
Executive suites.
Okay.
Executive suites,
Yeah.
and then they can expand that, I mean, whoever buys it, it's up to them what they wanna do with it, hopefully we can sell it for more than what the assessed value.
We discussed splitting it off too and selling the back acres, but that was something, we can do that tonight, cause that's what we're.
But anyway,
Sounds
so,
like crazy. I know this sounds crazy, but can I just like throw this out at you? Have you ever thought about keeping the building and moving all of us out there?
That's what I was
What
thinking
would
about
we do
today,
with this
actually.
though? But then it's off the square, and I think cities don't like that.
I realize that, but there's a lot of issues in this building, and I'm not just talking about one. But there's a lot of other issues that.
there's a lot of issues in that building too.
Yeah.
I would have kept.
It would
all
need a
courthouse.
need a full gut.
I was thinking today, wondering if we should sell both these buildings and find one that fits our needs. I mean, no options off the table at this point, right?
Yeah.
As long as it makes sense, then we gotta vet up, and we gotta get the data, and we gotta understand the pros
Why
and
did we,
cons.
I wish we would have moved it.
I mean, the one concern I have about selling the building, like in all these renovations, and you're gonna, let's say it does sell for $375, and we spend $250,000 renovating the courthouse to comply, ADA compliance and all this other stuff, are we ahead?
Yes, we absolutely are, and the
How
long-term
are
life
we-
cycle
how are
cost,
we-
because then
wait,
we don't
wait,
have to.
wait. How are we ahead when we have to, at some point, we have to expand offices, and we now have to rent more office space?
Because eventually we're gonna have to be ADA compliant.
The public health is ADA compliant already.
No, it's not. The front door is not ADA compliant. You
Well,
can't-
that
you
would
can't
be a
fill-
cheap
You can't
fix.
fill a wheelchair through there right now.
So then we just have to
Thaddeus
change
is,
that.
as Thaddeus has told us multiple times, he's been wanting to
It's a
do
cheaper
this.
fix.
It's a cheap.
The entire courthouse, which is historical. I mean, I just went and looked at all the bathrooms right before I came here, and none of them, I mean, you can't fit a wheel, like, they're not set up to be like, there's walls, and they're like, the bathroom stalls in the bedroom, there's like an actual support wall, like the toilet is only as wide as a toilet. There's not, like, there's nowhere to expand it to. You can't make it.
So I
Like
think,
so.
eventually though, we'll have to do what the Capitol building did, is have an ADA compliant bathroom on our main floor. I think that should probably be our goal. How we do that, I don't know. At this point, I don't think, to your point, the elevator, no one wants an elevator on the outside. Dallas County had that same issue that they had to talk about and figure out. So I think that in the long term, we should we spend a lot of money to make our door ADA compliant. I think we should have ADA compliant bathrooms. Because we're gonna have members of the public that cannot, and it's not that they cannot use the bathrooms in our building. Right now, they have a wheelchair. So I think we should probably move forward on that, and according to the state, as long as we have a plan, they would consider us compliant. So the first step on that is to do, they call it an ADA self-evaluation, and I've asked what's the next step on that, so I'm waiting for a response on that. But I think we need to move forward on it. We can't just have a building that's not ADA compliant. We spent a lot of money for our door, and I had no idea that we're still out of compliance because of the bathrooms. Until this situation.
Thaddeus, you were in the courthouse, but you were on the 3rd floor, so you were close to the bathroom, but they still aren't ADA compliant. And it worked okay.
But now the state knows about it, and I can't now get grandfathered in when I go back, because I'm already to an ADA building, to an extent, better than the courthouse. So, the state knows about it now, so.
So we knew this time was gonna come. So, I think that, we need to have discussions on it, and your idea about a building for everything, that's interesting. I don't know where
It's something to consider, but I think the root issue here is we have real estate that is very expensive to maintain. It's costly to maintain real estate that is not being utilized and not at capacity. We have a lot of open spaces we need to reconfigure so we're more efficient, working smarter, and we have people in the right places.
Yeah. So, once Sean gets back, talk to him, or you can talk to him since you're kind of leading this thing, and find out if he would be interested in that. I did talk to Mitch, he said he's fine moving, but that wouldn't work for you because it's down here in the basement. So, but that could be a reconfiguring of other people, depending.
That could, maybe we could make that work for the supervisors. Because Mitch could go to, I believe he said, oh, you're both here, perfect. I believe what we talked about before with the elderly services building, if that back office was made conducive, livable, workable for people, it would have to be remodeled, of course, but that puts you closer to the sheriff's department, and then that would also allow you to use their Wi-Fi, I believe he said, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
So that makes, and a lot of your stuff is there for storage, right? Anyway, but that office space that office space is in very bad condition. So
Yes.
it would need new paint walls, all of that.
But yeah, we can move down here, have our 3 desks, I think our 3 desks will probably fit in there. The other option is if with the CICS office, have our 3 desks in that back vault and have the open space for public health and HHS
They
and
won't fit in the vault.
No.
they all 3 won't fit.
What
They-
if
they
you
used to
Move
move,
in the
fit-
U shape?
They used to fit in the HR office, but it was very tight.
Okay.
So you need a space at least compatible to the.
We were in the,
Cause we're in a tight space right now.
but that vault's very small.
The vaults, we take
Oh, I don't care
about 6
about
foot of space away
Okay.
with that vault.
I'd put an office in the basement, I don't care.
We'll get you a little school desk.
Yeah, I'm okay with
Then
it.
you don't fit
Your
the
office- your
chair.
office-
With the little opening for the.
Your office is tighter now because you didn't have a countertop in there before. We moved the countertop from the treasurer's office down there for court.
What if we moved the treasurer, move him back to the courthouse, treasurer,
Then he'd be closer to the auditor.
and then put treasurer back, and let's bring
There's
the,
not a big enough space to house the treasurer. I've talked to Kylie and
Oh, I think
others about
that's-
that
we always
previously.
did it before,
Okay,
it worked out fine.
the driver's license area would not be able to be in their same space though,
Well,
as we have it now.
That's true.
we have the treasurer where. Really good. The treasurer.
Okay, I'm gonna just throw this out at you, okay? I just looked this up.
Okay.
From 2024, and I think this was June, to 2025 of June, the amount of titles that we have done has doubled
But is it online, or are they in the office?
in office.
In office, okay.
So
So
we,
you
we
need your
went from
space.
like 446 to almost 800 and something.
So you need the space you have, is that
We
what
do,
you're saying?
we are, and we are rapidly growing and and people are coming from out of
Yes.
county. Like, we went from 25 last year to 100 and some this year. So, and it is getting more and more. So,
Which falls into my concern also on the building is it's growing and we need,
yes.
eventually might be a place that we need to put the treasurer. 'Cause like you've been to the, I mean, if you've ever been to the Polk County DOT, there's like a giant, I know it's a way bigger county, but it's a giant area, like there's people in there all the time for handicap, like temporary things, and you just need to have the space available for people in the waiting room, whatever. If she has to hire 3 new employees, they're not gonna fit in the current office, you know, in the next 5, 10, I'm not talking tomorrow, I'm talking like 10 years in the future. The only place big enough that we currently have is that public health building that could fit them. And they could, and then they can expand out there where we don't, otherwise we're gonna be on the hook in 5, 10 years to buy another building or lease a building or build a building.
We could
I'm not
move
interested in having a 3,600 square foot building housing 2.5 people and paying to maintain that because we're waiting for growth for 10 years from now.
Well, our maintenance costs on that building, I would wager are a lot cheaper than the outside attorney costs, so we didn't have a problem with that. And we don't
So-
get anything for that, but we do get something for
And what
having
were
the
you
building.
gonna say, Diane?
I was going to say we could move the assessor to our office. That would work, they were there before, and that back room was really nothing but always a back room.
Yeah.
And then we could move Thaddeus into the assessor's office. It's kind of a big space, but, well, you need the.
But he needs an office for Joan to.
Yeah.
So we'll be 2 desks there.
And we could put you there, so the assessor could come back to the courthouse, I think we'll have to ask, but, and then Thaddeus, you get that office, that would be ADA compliant, because we're gonna get the new doors, those are coming now, well, in couple weeks, they think that, the doors,
When Monumental Park.
when the monument, yeah, that's gotta be fixed, that's in bad shape. So then we've got you moved in the assessor,
The
this,
elevator can fit a wheelchair, so they can come down to the bathrooms down here.
and they are
They are not.
compliant. I don't think you, because I had a terrible time when I was even on crutches
Well,
getting it.
But there are fixes for that. We could remove the partitions, that's what we did at the Midland building and the Liberty building, and again, do I think it's an ideal thing for people who really, you become a one-person bathroom instead of a two-stall, that is outside the box.
Do you ever have complaints about the bathrooms, you guys, if they are in wheelchairs?
Courthouse?
No, here?
No.
Cause I saw a wheelchair down here and seemed to work, I don't know.
Yeah, I've never,
They just must make it work.
but I mean, I don't know if they're gonna complain too.
Yeah, they'll just do it, yeah.
So, but we definitely cannot do it at the courthouse because of the elevator.
I get it. So we kind of solved moving Thaddeus to assessor to our office. I don't care what we said.
The only thing that I just think about, just because I know a veteran, is sound. And I think that you said something about sound, and I just know that, I know that those two offices, it's,
Loud.
not necessarily loud, but you can hear each other. And so I didn't
Is
know.
that soundproof, the walls?
Yeah.
Wall doesn't go up. I
No.
mean, there's a gap between that.
It's
Yeah.
open.
So I just didn't, I just
Between
wanted
the
to know
recorder
that.
and the, assessors.
Yeah.
Between the what?
Recorder and the assessor, that's a half wall. Why did they do that when they remodeled?
Yeah, he
What?
Well, that's gonna have to get changed then. Because the HIPAA violation right there,
Okay.
when I talk about confidential crap,
What if we, gave you the window and we just walled that off? We could go to this,
You mean
no,
an
cause you
office
still
that-
got, no, it won't work, cause you still got the in-between one.
Not if we close it off on the other side, use part of the brick wall and go around like that.
I don't,
Can we do that? Just bring the wall all the way up?
Which side are you talking about?
no, because between the assessor and the recorder, that's a huge space, it's just a,
No,
Open
not
up.
that, the other side,
The north
No.
side?
well, he
the north
needs,
side.
There are no windows on the north side.
you put him in the corner and then
Oh.
do that.
Both of them would need to have closed-in offices because they both deal with confidential
With HIPAA.
information.
so you just have to seal that one wall.
I don't know how, well, then you'd have no heat, you're gonna freeze. the
Well, they have
electrical.
those, grease lids in there now.
Chip, how would we seal that wall off? How expensive is that gonna be? We'd have to go.
Framing and drywall.
Well,
Those walls are the part of the problem of the heating, cooling in this building anyway. It wasn't designed to have those walls put in there. It was that space up, so the more walls we put, the more it's going to.
cause this was all
Affect
open
all the sound.
It
upstairs.
is, but we put mini splits in that office specifically to address that issue. Are you saying they're not working?
No, I'm saying to mess with that wall to make it sound barrier. But the more wall we put up, we took it clear up, I mean, that's what's defeating the purpose of this building. It was never designed to have walls put in it. So we have no return air coming through our the whole sign is flawed since we've done what we've done upstairs.
Okay.
But to put a soundproof wall in there, it'd be not that expensive. I mean, but another wall would have to be run east and west to separate it from the partition wall now. But everything we're talking about, in my advice, we need to reach out and get bids and numbers and everything else before pursuing forward with anything, the sale of anything, or
Just-
anything, so we know where we stand. We're throwing so many options out here on the table that.
That's why we're meeting.
If we research in a couple of weeks' time, I mean, we could have a better idea of what we're doing.
That's why we're meeting, to try to figure out what paths do we wanna pursue and investigate and make sure we're getting all the data gathered so that we can make an informed decision.
Yeah.
And that's why you're here, get your feedback, right?
So what should we pursue in looking at all options? How much would it cost to put an ADA bathroom on the first floor of the courthouse? How much would it cost to do an elevator in the courthouse? We're gonna need a new elevator anyway, cause that one is eventually gonna go kaput, cause she's been a challenge for several years now. How much would it cost to,
Who's making this
retrofit
list?
the,
Are you writing this list down?
Elevator, courthouse, Babson, first floor, courthouse.
how much to retrofit the assessor's office, the current assessor's office to meet your needs? And then and then hopefully I'll hear back from the ADA liaison on what they mean by a transition plan. I mean, can the transition plan be 5 years and we'll consider us compliant, or is it like a year? So I'll find out about that.
If it's,
I have a question. We've been talking about me, but what about public health?
Well, good question. So, I talked to Brady, and he said that the public health nurse can set up at the EMS building. And I talked to the Board of Health chair, and she said that currently when they do vaccines, they do partitions and all that kind of stuff. So, and Brady said they could close off that room that they have in order for them to do vaccines and have it be private.
Which room?
The training room.
the great big conference room.
The great big conference room.
Using a portion of it for?
Either a portion of it or the whole thing, cause there's doors, he says, they can close off and their guys can just go by it whenever she's there. Now, the thing is, she only comes once a month, and my understanding, she hasn't been there for several months, because there hasn't been
Not
any.
the last two.
Okay.
So-
Haven't had any.
So Brady said we could do that, I ran it by the Board of Health chair, saying if they'd be opposed to that. She says initially no, so she's gonna talk to the nurse to make sure, the Warren County nurse, to make sure that they're okay with that. And the benefit though, of her being there, is she's also, if there's any issue with a patient, client, we have EMS is right there. So, I think that might be a win-win in that situation, and we would not need to meet ADA compliance in that case, cause that building is already ADA compliant.
So Warren County they're here once a month to do all our shots. And we paid them $1,376 in July, and then we paid our mileage, and then in August, we paid them $675, because we're not doing a lot. That 28 with Warren. So is your plan to keep public health? Or
That's
con-
for the Board of Health. I'm just trying to make sure that we meet the needs of the county and we are ADA compliant, because this was brought up, and I'm glad you brought it up, so we can research it now. So I'm trying to figure out a way how we can comply without spending a bunch of money renovating buildings. So if we can solve that issue for public health, for ADA, by utilizing our brand new EMS building, which is already ADA compliant, they're here only once a month, then I think that meets the needs. And again, I'm double checking with the ADA liaison on that. So, and Brady was fine with that, we just need to schedule it, and I'm
He
sure
said
that's.
he just needed enough advance notice.
Right.
Where
So,
are we moving Susan?
she would still have an office probably in CSCS office, because we still have to have an HHS office too. And I'm waiting for a response from them too. So, we still need an HHS office, because they have to have a space for when they do come down to the county, whenever that is, once a week, twice a week, whenever they come.
When will you guys be then?
We'll find a spot. So I think the board is okay with us being, wherever.
I work primarily outside of that office anyway, so I just need a space to
So
land
my
and be able
main
to do the
concern
printers.
is the folks that need the space. and
I'm in the
need
office a lot, and I deal with lots of stuff.
So,
I don't care where I am. I like that little room in the
You
basement.
could have a
I don't
flex
care.
room in the CICS. That's what it said, you know, just
to like schedule. Yeah,
like
so-
you have now, but since you can't sit at a desk, three of you at the same time, you could have a flex spot that you're comfortable with, and yeah.
So, and we can each have our own file cabinet. for
I
stuff.
can see it now.
So we can split that off, have the office, based on the map, design you showed the Board of Health. The HHS office was gonna have their own, we can build up another one for you. We would not need a clinical space if the nurse is gonna be in the EMS building, so that solves one issue.
Okay, let's
we were
say
just
they do
discussing-
shots out there. They've got a refrigerator.
We can't, so I talked with Brady, and we will not be able to have our refrigerator or freezer out there, so if we still have vaccine fridge and freezer, it would have to be in my office or
Why
wherever.
can't it be out there?
He said no. He's not
Because
gonna
he
be
doesn't want
responsible
it?
for it, and you
Oh.
have to have,
I know.
I have to read data loggers twice a day, every day.
So
To
what
make
came-
sure.
What came up at the Board of Health meeting, I think Stacy asked it, was she was concerned about the cost of the refrigerator and why we needed it, Warren County's doing the shots, and she wanted to investigate.
And I am digging further into that.
Okay.
It's gonna take a while to get all the information gathered that they
So-
were requesting.
Cause that's expensive.
Potentially, yeah, potentially, if Warren can do it, hopefully, then we would not need a refrigerator. Cause if Warren is coming out and with their own stuff,
Yeah, but I have to get approval from the state, and I talked with Matt Sharp, and he's getting me additional information, so.
okay, good, so we're working on that, so, the Board of Health is concerned about the cost of refrigerator too, Diane.
So I think it sounds like your Board of Health is wanting to merge with Warren and not having it. So that's how it sounds.
I think they're trying to figure out a way to save money because of this move, and they wanna make sure we do it right. Cause originally we were told, we gotta get this huge refrigerator for $75,000, and it would cost us $75,000 to do it. Then we found out, no, we don't need to do that now.
It's
We
about
can
39.
utilize the existing electronic, connections and power connections and for a cheap refrigerator. So, yeah, but my priority right now is if we sell the building, we still need to talk about how we meet the ADA compliance requirements.
I
So-
think that if the Board of Health is merging with Warren, which they have a lot, then they need to make the decision if they're going to have public health or not, so we don't do all this stuff. And they say, gee, you know
Well-
what, we're gonna merge with Warren.
Well, here's the thing, is it doesn't really matter because they still need space.
Well, I get that, but if you're not going
And
to.
if we're gonna build out offices, we're gonna need the space eventually, to Steve's point, if we grow, we're gonna need space, places to put people. So I think forward thinking, regardless of what happens now, is the way to go, to where if we're building things out, because right now that CICS office is just open space.
I get it.
It's
but-
not utilized, and we need to make it more efficient, and whether we use it for an office for Susan, or use it down the line for something else, or we move other people somewhere else, I don't know, but right now, we need to have that discussion, and we need to figure out the EPA issue. Yes.
I got one more thing.
Yes.
So Veterans Affairs moves to an ADA building, but Public Health moves to a non-ADA compliant building?
It's because she's not seeing clients, the clients will be seen in the EMS building. And that is ADA compliant.
Wow, Susan.
I am reconfirming that.
Okay.
But the idea is wherever you serve the public, it has to be ADA compliant. And since the nurses are gonna be serving, assuming they're okay with that, if the nurse is serving the public out in EMS, which is ADA compliant, then we are compliant with that, is my understanding. So, that's a good question. But it's on my list of questions to the various different state entities that I'm talking to. But it sounds like we have a lot more stuff to look at, and a lot more unanswered questions.
Excuse me, I had someone who
There's, I'm sorry, there's no time for public comment.
I'm not making a
We're
public comment.
just talking with employees.
Could I finish my sentence? I have someone who texted me that they are sitting on hold, listening to music, waiting to be let into the meeting.
Oh,
So I'm not making a public comment, thank you.
Sorry.
so, it's open. Could it possibly they called into the wrong
I'm
bridge,
trying to-
because that happened last week?
I'm trying to confirm the person is also site incapacitated, so I'm not sure.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, so
Okay,
just trying to be helpful.
okay.
They can call me if they want, Vicki, and we put it on. Oh, I don't have enough battery, don't call me.
Let me just,
Anyway, sorry, so I think there's a lot of stuff that we have, left to figure out and unanswered stuff, and you're researching stuff for the Board of Health. So hopefully we can come back and talk about it. Hopefully I'll have answers from the state on the ADA stuff that I can share with the board. I doubt I'll have it by tonight. Do we wanna set another meeting to talk about this?
Let's maybe clarify further what we wanna accomplish before we meet again.
Well, you want,
So we want
You wanna check into elevator in the courthouse, bathroom on the first floor of the courthouse, assessor's office, Veterans Affairs, and Joan. Those were the three tops you had.
So our two, just to clarify for you, are if we move into the assessor's office, that's a big if. Are 2 desks gonna be enough for you, or do you need other things like lockable?
I have all my
cabinets?
stuff out there.
He's got a lot of things, cause you and I moved him out there.
And then, I'll probably put a conference table in there, a bigger table in there, so I can actually have a.
You could take your one from the basement.
Yeah, I'm missing some chairs.
What happened to them?
Somebody jacked them, so,
Yeah, I
That's fine.
noticed that.
yeah, but
So it's okay though to have?
I don't know how
desks?
they got offices, but yeah, if we have 2
It's
desks,
Dave.
Okay.
yeah, we're good.
Okay. And then you'd have space, cause that's, you're right, that would be nice, we didn't take space for a table for you, with beds in there, so I think.
And then I
If we can
need,
make
He
it
needs a
work.
conference room for his board, so you could hold it in there.
that's what I was planning on that table up there for, but I know I need fax machine, so I need to get that, make sure it's all.
It is.
Okay.
And before I move, everything has to be set up, because when I first moved out to that building, we didn't have internet or phone for 6 months.
That's true.
We already have internet and phone.
No, I'm talking for myself, I mean, they had it out there, but they never set me up
In your office,
in
you're
my
right.
office.
It's
So,
in the other
I
office.
wanna make sure that everything is up to par before I step foot in that office.
Okay. Okay. We can do that. So we'll coordinate with, Michelle. When we do that, I can help you coordinate with the IT cutover, because I've done those before,
Okay,
so.
thank you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yep, so, yeah, we can do that pretty quickly. So, but that's a way down the line. at this
Yeah, I know,
time.
I just wanted to make sure I.
It's not gonna happen tomorrow, but yeah, we'll keep that. Okay, so Diane and Jess, it looks like we have some more research to do.
Yeah, and again, let's clarify who's doing what.
Okay.
The elevator for the courthouse. You already have some data or not?
I just reached out, so we won't get back to it.
Okay, so can you maybe poke around with that, and get some, because to me, that's not our priority here necessarily, but we need to be taking that into consideration, right? It may impact some of this. And then the ADA restroom. You know, we need to, I guess I'll agree where we're wanting to put that before we can get close to figure out what that would look like, right?
You mean in the courthouse?
In the courthouse.
Okay.
So if you resolve the elevator, then you have ADA compliant restrooms in
True.
the basement.
True, but I just don't think we,
No, I think
Yeah.
you're right, that's gonna be a dead end.
Yeah, that's gonna be a dead end, but
Don't
it's
even
good to
get there
ask.
this
But at
time.
least we'll have a dollar amount for the dead end.
Yes.
How about that?
we're gonna need it regardless,
Yeah,
for,
nope,
for future,
got you.
yeah,
Future.
I agree.
Because eventually that elevator's gonna go kaput, I think. When was that put in?
75.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the elevator, 88, restroom in the courthouse, what was the other thing, Diane?
Assessor's office for Veterans Affairs for Joan, so moving the assessor, moving, him into the assessor's
And I was
office,
tasked with
researching
talking to
that.
Sean, so I'll talk to
Okay.
Sean next week.
Okay,
But as far as,
Who's doing the
evaluating-
bathrooms on the first floor, is that me?
No, I think that's a chip thing, don't you?
Chip, is that in the elevators? Yeah, I'll help you with the
I
bathrooms.
mean, I think we wanna add more to your plate, but
But that's fine.
Well, I think we
need
can
to
get
get
an
state
art-
historical involved
Yes,
before.
and we'll have to get
Pursue
it
getting
argued.
bids for the bathroom, we need to see what steps we gotta go through.
Yeah,
Then,
first.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
penetrating,
Yes,
we're not just penetrating a normal wall, we're penetrating 150-year-old,
yeah.
I mean,
right.
So could we have them, do we have them for a walkthrough to discuss that then, and just
state
physically?
historical, yeah. I mean,
Well, they were
somebody
there
give me a
today,
number to
so-
call, I mean,
Well,
I'm more
you-
happy to
you-
reach out to them.
play that role, right?
Yeah, I'll
State
talk to the
historical.
state, because I sit on that.
You sit on the board.
You sit on the state board too?
No,
Oh, just.
but I sit on the
She's got
county ones.
relationships, though.
Yeah.
So you can reach out with them and tell them what we're kinda talking about and see if they have any guidance, that'd be fabulous.
Yeah.
And then the public health piece, Heather, you mentioned,
Well, I'm kind of in a holding pattern, waiting to hear from the ADA folks at the state, the Board of Health Chair. I'm assuming you're communicating with her, so she would let me know.
Well, if you're communicating with ADA at the state, could you not put them in my direction? I mean,
Yeah.
that'd be the same people I could talk to about this bathroom.
Oh, I was just looking at, what we have to do to make it compliant, but yeah, I can ask them who
But
to
those
talk
people would
to.
know who to channel me through to, wouldn't they?
Okay. They did give me the name of a company that does the elevators in the Capitol building, so that might be a good place to start.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna get our elevator people, they'll get us back, get us in the number, get us in the right.
Yeah, they'll
direction
know
we're
who to
looking at.
get.
Then move forward, that's the direction I take, then we'll get the state involved, which
Okay.
like I've shared, that's, the only way to upgrade our elevator is to put a shaft on the outside of the building. There is no upgrading the elevator on the interior of the building, it's just not. The Historical Society will not allow us to do that, they approve the shaft on the outside of the building. The interior of the building messes with the balcony, and that's compensating the building, that's why that elevator is the size it is.
Yeah, okay.
but they're having discussions with them about adding the bathroom, so that'll be
No.
new,
But
right?
if she's discussing with them, they would know who I could contact to maybe come down and give us a physical overview.
Mhm.
You know, Linda Griffith would know that too, I bet. Cause she was with that archaeologist today, I bet they would know which directions to ask.
I just thought Heather's already communicated
Yeah,
with them.
let her
I
find
just got
out.
names, I'm only talking for the compliance side, but I can ask about who to
If you
talk
would, then
to.
you
She,
can put.
Yeah.
You can direct me.
Yeah.
Please.
I'll get them to you. Alright, so, just to recap, the elevator, you're gonna look into, and the bathroom.
I've texted them, so he'll
Okay.
get back.
And you're gonna look into the bathroom, and then I'm gonna when I talk to the state, I'm gonna find out who to talk to about historical compliance for that, and give them to you, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and then you're gonna talk to Sean next week when he gets back about potential move into the courthouse, and then the VA move into his office, and you were gonna talk to the State Historical Society to close that loop.
Yep.
Yep, okay. Okay, so I think we're at a pause on this, so do we wanna set up a meeting to kind of recap, or?
Do you wanna piggyback on our next one in 2 weeks, just to?
yeah,
touch
let's
base
just do it
and
at the
keep it
regular
moving?
meeting and say, show what we found out.
Okay.
So
that
we'll
sounds
just
good.
put it on the regular meeting and we'll come back with what we found out.
And that would be old business.
Sounds good to me.
Alright.
Thanks, everybody, for weighing in.
Thank you, everybody, for weighing in.
Thanks.
Thank you, Thaddeus.
Thanks,
Thank
Dave.
you.
I'll move to adjourn.
Nope, you got
Now
no
we
more
have to
things.
discuss that.
Sorry, a little too eager.
Ready to go.
So the other thing was just, I wanna make sure we are all on the same page. I talked to Michelle about this briefly, about the, moving stuff, under, certain duties back under the auditor, potential additional duties back under the auditor. Some are statutory, some are not. The custodian of the courthouse is statutory, but then only for the courthouse, not for external buildings. So that would actually be not a repositioning, it would be actually new. So, so the actual custodian of the courthouse has always been under the auditor, it just was never
Acted upon.
acted upon. Same thing with the board clerk. And same thing with, well, HR was technically moved by resolution, so,
Well,
so,
when I first started, the courthouse was under the auditor, board clerk was under the auditor, and HR was under the auditor, and IT. And then some of them got moved around.
yes. So the reason why we're doing this resolution is to clarify it and also talk to the,
Well, it's not a
discuss with the,
resolution.
well, it's not
Later.
for later, yeah, okay. So the issue that is, the actual current resolution that's on the agenda, it seems to imply that these are just moving back under her, as a normal course, when some were done by resolution, and, the auditor's never been the custodian of, say, the annex, or the sheriff's office, or secondary roads, or EMS. So I'm wondering if we just need to tighten up this resolution a little bit, so we can make it clear.
We can state it when we make the motion.
So may I,
yes.
I worked with Mac, and what I did was I eliminated to my resolution, I do think it needs to be an auditor resolution with regard to HR and the board clerk duties. I just removed the custodian of, and the courthouse.
Okay.
And
Do it as
then,
a separate resolution.
and just like you suggested, a separate resolution that it can come from you
Okay,
or the supervisors. And so we've marked it up. That way it's very similar to what the public has
okay,
in the packet. And I just struck through those two things.
okay.
And then if you, that way, then the rest of this discussion right now could be about transition. What do you guys see that including? The reason I was in my communication with this original resolution was, to me, the code is about custodian of the courthouse at all.
Yes.
And that's, like I said, it's very silly to think too, that maybe the language hasn't caught up with the reality that most government offices don't operate just in the courthouse.
Correct, yeah.
And that was my only reference to that. It wasn't to take away
Okay.
anybody's authority or direction. So that, I just want to be clear about that. So I'm very comfortable just striking any reference to custodian of the courthouse, and we can identify that in a resolution. And maybe we can talk about what time and what all it should include.
Well, that's good, because that's kind of what I wanted to talk about, is now that we've gotten that kind of cleared up, is what does that mean? And I think that, there's a reason why they put, I think under state code, they put it under the auditor, because you're there, you're running
One
things.
boss.
One boss,
One boss.
one person to shake a stick at, and you're there all the time, whereas the supervisors are not.
Yep.
And it's very difficult to get, approval on things, because we have to meet as a board. I know we have designated buildings that we're kind of oversight for, but I think it's a good idea to basically re-augment the custodian of the courthouse, as well as maybe make her also custodian of the annex. I think that would make sense.
So let me understand, Michelle. HR and board clerk are fine under you.
And IT.
Well, we don't really have IT, but we do.
Yes,
we do.
I-
It is thoroughly on my lap.
Michelle, just know that when it comes to IT, if you have any questions, I'm happy.
And I will be, absolutely.
And then you want to strike custodial, or you,
Well, just on the resolution, so we can actually work out the details of what this.
what that means, okay.
And it's, yeah, so I'm open to whatever it is that you guys are thinking.
All right, so what we're gonna do is we'll do the HR, board clerk and IT, strike custodian, and then we can discuss
And
custodial.
she already has that.
Yeah, and then we'll discuss that, what it looks like.
That's what we're here to
That's what we're here to
discuss
talk
right
about.
now.
So I think it's a
I have to talk
good idea. I mean, I think the EMS and the sheriff's office and secondary roads, they still need to be under them.
Yeah.
Be under them, for
Under-
custodian, but then have you as the custodian of not only the courthouse, but the annex, because you guys work so closely together. On that, I'm spitballing here, feel free to jump in, and then, in that vein, potentially move buildings and grounds to report to you as well, as an option.
So everything that, let me translate, everything that Chip and his staff is responsible for would then fall under the umbrella of
Custodian.
custodian of the courthouse.
So in technicality, you're his boss then?
Yeah, I
Well-
think, I don't know.
Under
You
Iowa
guys-
code, when it says custodian of the courthouse, it says per direction of the board. So like, say for instance, we as a board decide, you know what, we don't like how you're doing the snow, please do it differently. Then you as the custodian are taking direction from the board, and then you can go to the vendor saying, you know what, the board does not like what you're doing the snow, they want you to do it this way.
Sure.
So, but if we don't say anything, then
All is good?
yes, I assume so. So, and that way it's still.
What about performance issues and supervisory issues? What do you want me to do with that?
Well, in
That's what I'm
regard
talking
to facilities,
anything. I
Well,
mean,
in regard to facilities, it doesn't make any sense for anyone to report to a board of three, when we can't even talk outside of meetings.
Agreed.
I've always had an issue with
I
it.
just wanna make sure that we have the
Yeah.
same understanding.
I would like to see the auditor do the performance reviews because you're there all the time. And you see it all the time and you probably hear it more, cause we're in and out.
Yeah, if we have buildings and grounds report to her, then she can do that.
Yeah,
But I
she can do
think
the
to your point,
performance
I think
reviews.
that's a good idea.
She could also do checklists of what things need to be done. I'm okay with that.
Now, that being said, in the future, once you get your feet on the ground, then we'll have to talk about, hey, capital planning for long-term for our facilities and like bigger ticket items and more that we have to do to make sure we're preserving the courthouse. That doesn't mean that's all gonna fall on you,
No.
right?
No.
As part of that,
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's kinda good with my background that
yeah,
that might, but again, it can't be,
can't be
I
just shoot,
convey
you're gonna need help.
observations and, yeah. And I also do look to, elevate the responsibilities and, just through training and development of that, whatever that looks like as far as, so.
So, I mean, I have no problem with this as long as, should the board make a decision that's different, like say, if she decides to do something one way and the board's like, nah, I don't think I
Wouldn't I
like
be
that.
governed by the budget though, that you guys approve?
Well, yeah, you can't.
Well, you would be governed by the budget, I'm just going by the language in the code where it says per direction of the board. So
Sure.
it's not limited to budget per se in the code. So if we do add the annex to your responsibilities, I kinda wanna mirror the same code language for the courthouses for that. Now, I
Agreed.
don't expect there being any issue, I mean,
Well, if
something may
everybody's doing
come
their
up.
job, I can't, you know what I mean, that's kind of the thing is that if everything's working smoothly.
Yeah, you won't have much to do. If they don't, then you'll deal with it. Yeah, I agree with you.
So, the only time it would come up is say if the board wants a change of some sort, like, hey, we don't like how this is being done, can you fix it? And then we as a board make a decision on how to direct you,
Correct.
and then you would take that
Okay.
forward. So is that?
Yeah.
Is that?
Guys, I don't want arm wrestle, I'm good with whatever you guys want from me. I'm,
Okay.
again, just prepare the resolution that you feel comfortable with. And, like I said, I just thought it was important to get this established today, so it doesn't fall through the cracks.
Yes.
And are you cool with that?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So that.
So
put it
we
in
can
there
do
and
that, if the board is okay with just the custodian of the courthouse and annex, or do you have any other thoughts on that? Okay, so we can put that on a future meeting.
Just 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Do it on the regular.
What kind of transition timing do you want that to look like?
Well,
Meaning,
Meaning, it would be nice if what didn't take effect until October.
I think
First.
that's, yes,
Only because
yes.
you guys are pretty ingrained in this transition and office moving, and I do kind of look as if I were to be involved in the custodian and the annex, all this moves, I would want to be a part of those meetings
okay.
because of my background and the staff is
You
gonna
wanna
be
just take them on for it, just handle them?
Yeah, thanks.
But she has nothing else
I
to
knew that
do.
was coming.
Just
She
kidding.
doesn't have anything else to do.
No,
You
we
guys,
are not
honestly,
gonna
I'll
be
give you
behind
an
that.
update on my work progress at the regular meeting, cause that's where it is,
Yeah.
but I think October's a pretty safe,
Okay.
and then whatever I can do to be helpful in that.
Do we wanna do it like, I suppose it doesn't matter payroll cycles.
Don't you have
No,
school
I don't think
elections
so, cause
coming
that,
up?
nothing else is, I've got an elections deputy that's rocking it,
Alright.
so no, I'll just stop talking there, and I'll give you an update about my department and the office.
So we can do the resolution in 2 weeks
2
from
weeks
today.
and then make an
if it's
effective date.
October
Yep.
first.
Just write it for
Does that work for them?
I work in first of the months, so that's
All right.
okay with you guys. So good.
Okay, so, looks like we got that resolved, and the other thing on the agenda was just kind of a blanket thing, if there's anything else about facilities that any member of the board wants to talk about. I just put it on there as an open discussion item, if you guys wanna talk about anything else with facilities.
I do. I have questions. How is it going with the roof leaks here?
Starting tomorrow, they're gonna start fixing
Oh, so they've been leaking further or not?
No,
No,
Well, they
they're
haven't
working
had
on
any
it.
rain,
So do we know how they're gonna, what's the solution they're doing? Are they gonna fix the piping or what are
They're
they gonna
putting
do?
new drains, extending the drains, and I'm putting a backup secondary drain over the assessors and the recorder's office.
Because they underdid those drains, they were too small. That was caused.
Are they gonna be fixing it at their expense?
That's something we'll work out. I'm having Excel to fix, the roofers will be opening up the roof, because the roofers wanted, their suggestion wasn't gonna work, so.
And their suggestion was what, adding gutters?
Their suggestion was to cut channels like we did on the top roof and exit the water from the building, and that was gonna cause a future hazard to the public with dumping water onto the sidewalk.
Correct, cause that would freeze and all that.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So Excel, if you're paying Excel, I think this roofing company should have paid for it. Okay. That's,
Are you,
That's something we might have to get Steven involved in.
yeah,
I'm
because,
focused on getting the roof fixed.
yeah,
yeah,
That's,
get the rust fixed, and then we'll go after them.
is ICAP involved at all, or no?
No,
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
A while back, Chip, you mentioned that the dome, there was leaks with the dome, in the dome area.
that is what I showed Diane earlier today. I'm reaching out and heard that we need to get set up on a maintenance plan of having, and it can't be done this year, but we need somebody to come recaulk the dome. And it needs to be on a 3 to 5 year cycle, and that's where some of the leaks are coming from. We've got, since the dome project in 2013, I mean, some caulking and that's just breaking loose, and then we're 126 feet there, and I mean, that's,
Yeah,
You know, Chip, what if we just budget to do that like on a 3-year cycle?
that
Could
would,
you have to recaulk windows and everything? I mean, why
that
not?
would be a good preventive maintenance plan.
Yeah, I think so.
What would that take, we need a lift for that?
Yeah, 120-foot lift, and they
We need
have,
to lift like the big lift Tri-Holds have.
and they could do that, probably, that's about 500 gallons a day for the lift. They could do that in a day, don't you think?
It'd probably take 2 to 3 days, but I'm figuring roughly a budgeted, if we said budgeted $3,500 to $5,000,
Okay.
that should do it.
really?
That's it?
That's surprisingly low, but
Oh,
it's
it's
with a
just-
lift.
I don't, well, the lift is $500 a day, so there you've got 15.
Well, once we get a definite number, I'm just throwing a number out there. I mean,
Sure, I was just trying to get my hands around. Question though, does it have to be done, any temperature
I
requirements?
think
Yes,
it
it
needs
does.
to be in a temperature controlled later spring or early fall.
Shoulder
And then we'd have to-
seasons?
Then we'd have to plan it with a big lift. Weather, of course, with going on the lawn. But I know there's measures that they can prep Bridgewood to go to the sidewalks and not bust up sidewalk. I mean,
Mhm. But do you feel comfortable, with what you have set up now to protect the courtroom?
yes,
Okay. But it's something we're gonna need it.
it's a farm fix,
Yeah.
but it's not,
I do have a question for you. Are you available tomorrow?
yes.
Okay. The inspector's coming, Mark Farley, so I might be, asking you to do a walkthrough with him and his engineer. So I don't have the time yet, I'm waiting for that, but I didn't know what your schedule was tomorrow.
Let's have that
I will be,
courthouse inspector.
just have to give him my number and I'll be here with the roofers, Excel, I'll be seeing what Steve Reed
You'll
needs
be
from
around.
Monumental Park.
Okay.
I have more to say.
Okay, so I just wanted to give you a heads up on that, so, okay. All right, I don't think there's anything else for facilities that we need to discuss, anybody? Otherwise, we can adjourn and have some dinner and come back at 6.
Thank
So
you.
moved to adjourn.
So second.
All right, all in favor of adjourning, vote aye.
Aye.
All opposed?